And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Craig Goldenfarb. Craig, thanks for spending some time with me, sir.
My pleasure, Michael. Great to be here.
Well, Craig is an entrepreneur. He happens to run a very successful PI law firm in Florida, but in addition to that, he owns I think 9 other businesses, and he's spent his life helping other entrepreneurs grow businesses, but also find and maintain that work-life balance that seems to be oh so elusive to us. And that's really what we're going to dive into is kind of your experiences, your schools of hard knocks, and how you've been able to achieve it. So as we dive into that, tell me, Craig, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Well, I went to law school because my mom was a lawyer and she was a good role model. And so I had nothing else to do. So like a lot of people, I did what my parents do. So I went to law school and I had a brain a lot like my mom's, analytical brain. So I thought law school was the right thing and I enjoyed it a lot. And when I got out of law school, I happened to be dating a girl whose dad was a lawyer. And my GPA wasn't also great. So
Okay.
I couldn't get a job, and he offered me a job, and he happened to be a personal injury attorney. So that's my amazing, wonderful story of how I got into personal injury, is it's the only job I could find.
There you go.
I go down to Miami, and this gentleman, who is still my father-in-law, um, said, "Do you want to be a businessman or a lawyer or both?" And I was 25 years old, and I said, "I don't know. Let me try both."
Yeah.
So he taught me to do both at age 25, which was a blessing.
Oh yeah.
And he brought me on his TV shoots and his radio shoots and brought me in on all the business stuff and taught me how to be a business person. At the same time, he turned me over to his lawyers to teach me how to be a trial lawyer. It took me about 10 years to realize I was actually having more fun and I was better at being a business person than a personal injury lawyer. So knowing that about myself, I was about 35 years old, and I set my course at that point to developing a business and getting out of being a lawyer. And I opened my own firm a few years earlier when I was 32 years old. So I've had my own firm about 23 years, and I am now 100% CEO of my company as well as 9 other companies. And I haven't touched a case in 15 years.
I love that. I hope that last statement just resonates and sits with my audience because it can be done if that's what you want to do, right? And I love how you said you found or you redirected your life at that point when you realized you were better at business, and that was really the passion. I assume you took some time, you figured it out, and you said, "This is where I'm going," and that's okay. Now let's take you from that point as you built your law firm, because you were doing cases. Now you had to build a firm, and then you started building other companies because you're an entrepreneur. Let's dive into this work-life balance because Craig, I hear a lot of people parroting that, right? Because I think it's something that entrepreneurs desire, they want, they just don't know how to get it. And I see too many of them leaning too far on the work side. What Tell us about some of the experiences you've had. How have you figured this out?
I think the first thing you need is a little bit of mindfulness. You need to understand yourself. So
Hmm.
the first place I went was internally in my brain.
Mhm. Okay.
So when you do that, it's challenging. It's dark in there.
Yeah.
It's a cave. So you got to figure out first what your identity is.
Hmm.
So a lot of us as lawyers, our identity is based on our intellect.
Yeah.
Where do we get our meaning? Where do we get our self-worth?
Yeah.
So most workaholics, most are doing it because of that's where they feel the best or the safest. So you either feel safety because you're escaping from something, or
Mm.
you feel the best because you get positive reinforcement from working hard, making money, etc. And these are all actually deep emotional analyses. So that's
Yeah.
why I call it mindfulness, because if you're not willing to do that work on yourself, then you cannot break an addiction. And
Hmm.
workaholism is an addiction. It just
Yeah.
is. You have to admit it. It's an addiction. So why are you addicted to not getting home on time? Why do you make the claim, which is completely false, that I'm doing this for my family? That's a
Right.
completely false story,
Right.
because if you see your family 2 hours a week, you're not doing this for your family.
Right.
So why do we all say that? Why are we all lying to ourselves when the real reason is that we're workaholics for a reason? So the
Hmm.
first place you go is internal. So I knew that my entire self-worth at age 32, when I started this journey, was based on my professional success
Hmm.
and my intellect and my smarts and making money. And that's not consistent with work-life balance. It's not consistent with health. It's not consistent with being married or having children. It's not consistent with having a wheel of life that has equal pieces
Right.
of the pie. And that's the danger we all fall into, but it's rare for a person to actually take a look at it and say, is this really working for me? And it
Right.
wasn't working for me. And at that point, I'd been married. I had two little children, babies, and I was seeing myself going down a bad path because where do you feel best? You feel best at work,
Yeah.
especially when you have babies,
Yeah.
especially when you're
Exactly.
doing
Yeah.
that, especially when you have babies. Where do you escape? Work, or
Yes.
with the boys, or going out and having a beer, or playing golf, or where else? Men go or females go at different places or the same places. So
Right.
you start to become mindful, and then you have to decide that you're going to do something about it. Just
Mm-hmm.
like any addiction, you have to decide this isn't working for me, but then you actually have to do something about it, which is the tough part. So
Yeah.
what do you do? Well, you've got to set some habits. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of books that are popular right now that I read on habits. And part of that is learning. So where did I turn to learn? Well, a variety of sources, whether it was coaches that I hired, courses I attended, leadership books I'd read on delegation and leadership. So I started learning in areas other than law, other than law. I could become a great lawyer, but that wasn't going to help me at all with what I was
Right.
looking to do. So I had to start reading books. I started reading, one of the first ones is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
It's a foundational book of any well-rounded human, right?
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
foundational book. That was like literally one of the first books I read. And it talks about just having just people skills, being a nice human being. So that led me to more and more and more learning, whether it's by books or by courses or by life coaching courses, whether it's Tony Robbins or Landmark, or there's hundreds of life courses that are absolutely wonderful. So I started taking a lot of courses. So I started focusing my efforts not on law.
Mm.
And that was the course that I've taken for the last 23, 25, 30 years, is
Mm-hmm.
to focus on the non-legal aspects of growth. And that has really led me to where I am today.
That's awesome. That is a great background. Thank you for all of that. And I love the old books, right? I was talking to somebody, we're doing a neighborhood book study with some neighbors. And that same book, the Dale Carnegie book, came up because we're talking about relationships and challenges and conflict. And I brought that book up. It's like, it's not just in marriage, it's every relationship. And what Dale talks about in that book is just, I mean, it's been around for a number of decades and it's still as true today as it was back then.
Yeah, I find the older books are great foundation. I call them foundational books because they've
Yeah.
usually hung around for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And then you get to the modern books that are on leadership by Patrick Lencioni or Simon Sinek, or even Brene Brown on vulnerability. These are all more modern, more recent books. But honestly, those authors in particular, I love. But as time went on, I explored more and more areas of learning. And candidly, the lifelong learning strategy
Mm-hmm.
has been a key to anything I am today.
Yeah. And I love how I love that, but I also love how you went back to say workaholism is an addiction. And I think as we entrepreneurs are running down trying to build our business, too many entrepreneurs are looking at the success stories and buying into what I call the clickbait many times of I can help you build a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. But the entrepreneur is not ready for that for a lot of reasons. And I think a lot of times is because they're chasing the wrong thing. They're trying to find their validity in that. And they haven't done that inner work of going, okay, who am I? Not that that's wrong or bad, nothing, right? But it's who am I and what do I want for me and my family? Building a business, Dan Kennedy years ago, build your business to support the lifestyle you want. That could be a 7 or 8 figure business, or it could be, you know what, I'm totally content with a mid 6 figure business because I get to spend time with my family and do other things. It's diving deep into that introspection. How did you do that? I mean, was it a weekend? Was it over a period of time? Did you ask yourself certain questions? Unpack that introspection, that mindfulness a little bit, because I'm not sure people grab onto that.
Well, for me, it was a particular life course I took that I'm not scared to talk about, called Landmark. It's
Mm-hmm.
landmarkworldwide.com is the website.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from the 1960s. And it taught me a level of introspection, which is roughly based on Eastern philosophy, which you
Mm-hmm.
might call mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
that really digs into your past and what made you who you are, sometimes based on how you were parented. But it really digs into what are your triggers, what makes
Mm,
you feel good, what are your love languages, if you've read the book Love Languages, which everyone should or could read.
yeah.
So it's the beginning of a mindfulness journey that I took at age 30.
Yeah.
And I attribute that weekend, because the first course is 3 days, um, to really starting me on a path to figuring myself out. So, some people are looking for a magic feather as to like, how do I start? Honestly, at least in my life, it was that course, Landmark Education, which started to get me to realize that learning yourself was the starting point for all growth.
Mm,
And whether it's Landmark or Tony Robbins or whatever life coaching type exploration you do, it might even be religion if you're religious.
hmm.
Whatever leads you to self exploration um, has to be your starting block. It has
Yeah.
to be. So you said, was it a weekend? For me, it was a weekend. It was a weekend
Hmm.
with a certain course. And that could be even be therapy. It might be therapy that helps you find that. So there's so many different ways of exploring yourself. So many different paths, but they all have the same goal, which is
Yes.
to figure out what drives you,
Yeah.
where it comes from, and if what drives you is serving you currently correctly. Because it could be that what is driving you is unhealthy. Like for
Right.
me, the need to be productive was caused by my overproductive mother. And she
Mm,
expected productivity to the exclusion of compassion and empathy. And that was unfortunate. But
hmm.
to come to that realization, whether it's through therapy or courses or whatever, it taught me about myself. So productivity became a measure of self-worth and
Mm,
still is. It's still something I fight. So I'm
right.
still a workaholic. You know how they say if you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic.
Always. Yeah.
It's how many days has it been since your last drink? Well,
Yeah.
to me, it's how many days has it last been since you went home late,
Oh,
right?
good.
I'm
Yeah.
still a workaholic, but
Yes.
how many days am I on a streak that I came home in time for dinner?
Right.
Same
That's
thing as how
awesome.
many days it's been without a drink if you're an alcoholic. It's
Yes.
still an addiction. I have not gotten rid of my addiction.
Hmm.
You're a recovering addict always. So
Man.
if you're an entrepreneur that's addicted, it's okay. You're
Yeah.
okay. You're a workaholic. It's okay to say it. But are you working on it? Do you
Yeah.
realize, have you admitted like you do at Alcoholics Anonymous that I'm an alcoholic? Do you believe in yourself to get through this? And if so, what are you doing about it?
Right.
So yeah, you're a workaholic and you're in good company because everybody listening to this probably is.
That's right. That's right. Well, us talk about that a little more as far as I want to pivot a little bit here because you were able to bring your wife into the world because I think a lot of entrepreneurs do it themselves and they isolate their family because they're getting their kicks from work and they don't share that experience with their wife or their family. But somehow you've been able to do it because your wife kind of shares the stage with you now when you speak. Talk about that journey of that work life balance and how did that all transpire of you and your wife coming together in business as well?
Well, I've read enough leadership books and therapy books and all kinds of books to know that no matter what your struggle is, you can't do it alone.
Mm,
You can't do it alone.
yeah.
So you either need a coach, a support system, whether it's family, friends, life coaches, business coaches, therapists. The best athletes in the world have 10 or more coaches, right?
Right.
Um, I spoke on a stage after A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, and he's currently a billionaire. And he talked about the fact that he has more coaches now. He's about 50 years old, I think. He's a real estate investor now, and he's a billionaire. And he said he has more coaches now than he did when he was playing professional baseball. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this dude's retired from baseball, but he has more coaches now. And someone asked him at the seminar, what are you talking about? And he said, well, just because I stopped playing baseball didn't mean I stopped being a person. I still need a nutrition coach. I still need a health coach. I still need a therapist. I still need a fitness coach. I still need a financial coach. So he's like, what changed? Just what I was doing. I
Right.
didn't change. So I thought, wow, A-Rod has 10 coaches and he's a billionaire. What does he need coaches for? And he just told me. So that really made an impact on me because I was speaking. It's hard to speak right after Alex Rodriguez, but I got up there and that was still in my head, like, oh my God. So it really furthered what I was talking about, which is you need a support system. So who
Right.
is your support system already? And who's a victim? If you're a workaholic, your spouse.
Yeah.
So I thought, what better accountability partner to have other than the person who's the victim
Right.
if you don't hold yourself accountable. And that victim is your spouse. So
Right.
I had multiple talks with my lovely wife, and she had been a TV anchor woman before she retired to take care of my children. So she's a better speaker than I am. So
Okay.
I thought, hey, why not bring my wife into this little 1-2 mix, which I did. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can speak on this forever because I am the victim of this. And I can peel away the curtain behind Mr. Goldenfarb, my husband.
Yes.
What an interesting 1-2 speech that would make on stage. So we designed it so that I get up and tell you about how to run your business, how to grow an multiple 8-figure businesses. But here's the impact it has. And then she gets up and talks about the impact it had on us and our children and how we've tried to overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you combine the two speeches, you get a full picture. Because most seminars, you get up there and you hear about the great, wonderful Wizard of Oz who's done great things, but they don't tell you about their 6 divorces and that their kids
Right.
hate them and that they work too hard and that they have mommy issues and
Yeah.
all the stuff that's behind the curtain.
That's
And
right.
I'm vulnerable enough because I've watched enough Brene Brown videos to know
Mm-hmm.
that vulnerability is power.
Oh,
And I get
100%.
up there and I let my wife afterwards tell about what's really behind the curtain. And that has been really, and I did it selfishly because I want her to hold me accountable and I want to have a good marriage. And
Right.
watching and listening to her talk about the effect my workaholism has had on her and my children has actually helped me.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I mean, and I don't want to say the wrong word. It's not that I'd hope it hasn't put guilt on you, but it's brought things to your awareness maybe that you missed. And you went, wow, hence giving you more motivation to get home early, to have those dinners, to do those things, to go, I never knew. I never realized.
Yeah, I don't I hate the word guilt because it's a
Yeah.
worthless feeling. I
Yeah.
love the word accountability, which is if
Yeah.
she brings that to my attention and I listen to it over and over again, it helps me be accountable to what I claim to want to do, which is have work-life balance. So if she doesn't cause guilt, she causes mindfulness and awareness,
Right.
which is wonderful. Guilt is painful.
Yeah.
Awareness is liberating.
I love that. Awareness and accountability. Those are two great A words we're going to take out of today's podcast because I think that's so right. And I'm hoping that as people are listening to this, they might start asking that question of, all right, what counsel would you give an entrepreneur who is sitting here listening to this going, oh yeah, I'm driven. Oh yeah, my business is doing good, but my marriage might not be. How could they approach their spouse with a question or something? What counsel would you give them? Because that could be a very challenging conversation at first.
Well, one of the tools I learned, and I think this is Eastern philosophical, but it's in a lot of books, is you take the people you love and you ask them 3 questions. What do you want me to keep doing? What do you want me to start doing?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you want me to stop doing? 3
Mm-hmm.
very fundamental questions from Eastern philosophy. And if you give the person, any person, the space and the safety to answer those 3 questions, the safety to
Yeah.
answer those 3 questions honestly, if you're lucky enough to have a relationship where you provide that safety to them, that's a good start. And if you ask it over and over and over again, like once
Yeah.
a week, which we
Yeah.
do, I have a weekly meeting with my wife. If I ask those 3 questions every week, and if she asks the same of me, what great conversations come out
Mm.
of those. And I ask
Yeah.
my daughters that weekly, and they're adults now. And they tell me things that I never would have known. Stop, start, and continue. Those are the 3 keys. Stop,
Love
start,
it.
and continue. So you asked, what would you do? What would be your first step? It's ask your loved ones those 3 questions.
I love it. I love it, man. Craig, we could talk for hours because you hit a hot button for me, and I really want entrepreneurs to be super successful as long as they're not killing their relationships with their spouse and their kids and all that. So I love the work-life balance. And I probably have 20 more questions for you, but I want to stop right there honestly because those 3 questions, I want my audience to go back and just rewind this for about 5 minutes, re-listen to what Craig just said. That's the beginning of opening up a deeper relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your business partners. That those 3 questions could be asked of anyone, right?
They're some of the 3 most powerful questions I've ever encountered.
Yeah. What do you want me to keep doing? What do you want me to start doing? And what do you want me to stop doing? And as you said, making sure that's context is an environment of safety where when they say something, you can't rebut it. You can't go, well, all right, right? I mean,
Yeah, no defensiveness. It's a data gathering exercise. And you have to, like, luckily I already had a good enough relationship with my kids and my wife that they didn't think, where the hell is this coming from? This is the weirdest thing dad's ever done. So
Yeah.
they knew that I'm into growth. They know
Yeah.
I'm into learning. So this wasn't weird. It was
I
weird,
love it.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't as weird as it could have been because they know who I am as a person.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So if you've never done this before, just say, "Hey, I listened to this podcast. Here are 3 questions," and but have the right heart and look for change and growth, because that's really what you're looking for. Is the answers are going to help you with change and growth in your own life. And that's the beginning point of finding this work life balance, understanding yourself so that you can achieve in life what you want to achieve, and find the peace within yourself to go, I am who I am and I'm okay with that, and I'm okay because everybody around me is okay as well. Craig, this has been amazing. How does somebody like follow you, reach out to you, learn about you? Where do they go?
Sure. Well, I've not written a book, and I'll put a yet after that. I've not written a book. I'm on a podcast probably every week.
Okay.
I'm on Charlie Mann's podcast. I'm on the Atticus podcast, Atticus. That's a lawyer coaching program. I've been on, boy, if you know how to search podcasts, which I don't know how to do,
Yeah.
I'm on a ton of podcasts. I've given a seminar, a 1-day seminar on how to grow your practice called the Seven Figure Attorney. It's actually sevenfigureattorney.com spelled out. You go there, you see some of the videos there are recorded. So I'm on that. I lecture across the country, whether it's at PILMA, Great Legal Marketing, the Filevine event I'll be speaking at late September in Utah. I've really got a full lecture circuit. So
Yeah.
I hate to say the words Google me, but
Okay.
Google me. It's
Yeah.
funny. My top trial lawyer has a coffee mug that says Google me because he's handled a lot of very high profile cases. So it's a joke in
Love it.
our office. But Google me. You'll find me. There's a lot of videos, a lot of stuff. I do TikTok and Facebook every day. So I'm
Okay.
all over social media, both on behalf of my firm Gold Law and myself, Craig Goldenfarb. Public. Everything's public. So it's
Awesome.
pretty easy to find me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I'll grab some of those, put them in the show notes. But Craig Goldenfarb, just Google him. You're going to find him and follow him because you've got the experience. You've built the business. You've kept the marriage for 2+ decades, 3+ decades, a long time. You've got the relationships, and in my world, brother, that trumps an 8-figure business any day. Is when you can keep a marriage. I just celebrated 35 years with my wife. We got 4 kids. So I'm always looking for entrepreneurs who are super successful in business and super successful in personal life, because that's where it's all at, man. So, Craig, thank you. I appreciate your time, your expertise, your insight, and these 3 questions that we're leaving our audience with. Thank you for doing
Michael,
what you do.
oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure to share, as my wife calls, my alleged wisdom.
I love our wife. That's great. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Experts Speak today, and tune in again next week for another great episode. Take care and God bless.